Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green 19 podcast. I'm Dominique Yates. I'm joined by Ryan Wood and Tom Silverstein, coming to you from U.S. Bank Stadium, where a football game was played. Not a great football game, not an entertaining football game. There was not an amount of coffee in the world that I could have consumed to try to get through this football game, but we survived. And you can say you advanced to the playoffs, but 16-3, the final score here against the Minnesota Vikings. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. But I mean, overall, when you look at this game, you saw some newcomers do some good things. Trayvon Diggs made his debut in a Packers uniform. They rested starters. I guess, Ryan, what were you even looking to see going into this game? Was there anything that you were interested in at all?
No, I mean, I was more taking the approach of sit back and see what develops. And I do think a couple things developed. I'm leaving Minnesota, and Spoon, check me on this. Fairly sure Rashawn Gary's not going to be on the team in 2026, and wondering if Malik Willis might be on the Vikings in 2026.
Yeah, those are certainly possibilities. I would not rule either one of those out.
That's where my mind's at. Big takeaway. Barron Sherrell is the rookie from Texas that had the breakout game today. Matthew Golden is not. He was... If you can get that type of effort and production from a guy in the rookie contract, you're going to save $11 million cutting Rashawn Gary. Like that's an easy choice. J.J. McCarthy is bad. He's just not good. I was on the field after the game, and Jeff Halfley walked past me, and he looked at me. He's like, played with a lot of effort today. Like, he's really pleased with how hard his guys fought. And he's right. But, boy, J.J. McCarthy is just not good. And the Packers have two quarterbacks better than J.J. McCarthy. One of those guys, Malik Willis, is about to be a free agent. He's going to get a starting shot. And I just can't help but think, boy, if you put Malik Willis with this offense on that turf, that'd be interesting. I'd be very interested to see what happened.
Spoon, was there anything in particular you were thinking about or had an eye out on heading into this game?
Yeah, I think this could wind up being one of Matt LaFleur's best decisions of the entire season.
Oh, yeah.
Which was holding guys out, was playing Clayton Tune, making sure that all his injured guys and as many starters as possible didn't play. I mean, it turns out that, while the Packers guys are resting, the Bears are playing right to the end against Detroit. And, I mean, we'll find out whether that's legit, but in my mind it is, because I think injuries and being beat up and getting a bye is always beneficial. Especially when you're as beat up as the Packers have been, and you can rest your quarterback and you rest receivers and linemen. I mean, how many times do you get to rest offensive linemen?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty rare. I think that's what I took out of this was a golden opportunity, and he took it. He took full advantage of it. So now we'll find out. In my opinion, it was a good decision. We'll find out next week against the Bears whether it was.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I was curious about in this game, I was curious what some of the young guys would do, having extended reps, because you never really know. You don't get to see them, including guys like Barron Sherrell that's dealt with injuries, Colin Oliver, who has been on the PUP list, and, so many of these guys that just haven't played a lot of ball, and even guys that we've been asking about, like Nazir Stackhouse, wondering, if there's a spot for him out there. And at least from a big pictures perspective, at least they showed some glimpses, kind of like you just mentioned with the guy like Sherrell. Like, okay, maybe there is something you can build off here for the future. So that was something I was interested in. But also, which is kind of, we can segue into Trayvon Diggs, playing about 32 snaps in this game. He even said going into it the Packers would only play him maybe a quarter, maybe two. But I would say another takeaway is I think they probably have another starting corner with Keyshawn Nixon I don't know, any takeaways from Diggs just in the limited role that you saw?
Spoon, was it you that asked after the game if Trayvon Diggs could actually start next week? I don't know where you're at on this. Frankly, I don't know who's going to start.
Yeah.
But Matt LaFleur's answer that anything's on the table, I wouldn't be surprised if he does, because he is a big corner that showed today. His best play of the game was I forget the Vikings ball carrier, but his little check down to him. He initially whiffed on a spin move, but stuck with the play and dropped the guy for a 2-yard gain, made a tackle. How many times? Who's the corner that he might replace? Carrington Valentine.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen Carrington Valentine miss tackles?
Yeah.
That play to me showed Trayvon Diggs might start in Chicago because they just, last year's playoffs against Dallas Goedert, Carrington Valentine gives up a touchdown because he can't tackle. He's shown throughout this season that he cannot tackle. They might go with the bigger, more physical corner that might actually be able to tackle. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. Any thoughts at all on that?
Yeah, I think a motivated Trayvon Diggs is a good person to have on your team. He's got to be motivated. He has to be, happy with how he's being used. I saw, what I saw was a starting caliber corner when he cut off Justin Jefferson on a third down play, kept his inside leverage. I've seen that so many times where a Packer corner will, set up with the leverage and then give it away.
Yeah.
And he just stood right in his place, and Justin Jefferson came right to him, and he broke up the pass. He's not known as a big tackler or whatever. He's a cover guy.
Yeah.
And he's got great hands, but he's so further along than any corner they have in terms of how to play the position that you absolutely have to start him.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to start him ahead of Valentine. I don't care if he only knows half the defense.
Yeah.
You just tell him what to do. You have Xavier McKinney yell out, "Hey, if you're playing press here, just go get him."
Yeah.
Absolutely, he should be on the field.
Yeah, he brought up that point. He said that the guys have throughout practice, and that was the other thing. I didn't expect to see a whole lot. He showed up on New Year's Eve. He started practice New Year's Day. Had 2 days of practice, and then he was out here. So I knew
that's the blessing of being a corner, though.
Right.
There's just a few positions in this league where you can. Not that you don't have to learn things. The biggest thing for him today, and Dom, you talked to him about this, was being able to get acquainted with the communication on the field with guys that he's playing next to. That's important. But really, perimeter corners, just go cover the guy. There's a lot of that. And I'm with him. He's at a position where you can come in quick, make a difference, and you got to look at who he might be replacing. If they had a legitimate number 2 guy there, then it'd be a tough decision. It's not because they don't. Yeah,
and it's crazy. He had 2 tackles, but it was 2 of the better tackles from any corner this season for the Packers from that room. So
that's the thing. To Spoon's point, he had 11 interceptions his second season. He had 3 the next year. Then he got the big extension. He was an All-Pro because he's a ball hawk, but he's a motivated Trayvon Diggs, and he has the size to tackle. He is a good-sized corner. He showed today a motivated Trayvon Diggs might make a couple tackles, and certainly if you go against Carrington Valentine, it's not a high bar to clear.
Yeah, absolutely. I do wanted to get your thoughts too, Spoon. I didn't really get to ask you about some of the young guys from Stackhouse, Sorrell. Obviously Brenton's played a little bit more, but he was out there as well. Just kind of takeaways from the young guys.
Really big game for Brenton Cox because this is his 3rd game back, and when he's on the field and he's whole, he's active. He's not, he's not Micah Parsons, but as you saw today, he had 3 quarterback hits, a sack, a forced fumble. He's doing something, And right now, with the way Rashawn Gary's playing, I'd want to give him and I'd want to give Sorrell some snaps.
Yeah.
Stackhouse got a chance to show whether he can play. So he's been inactive for 4 straight games. And because of injury and because Bohanna was a bust, they stuck him out here and he played a starter's role. I don't know how he played. It's impossible to tell how a nose tackle played, you know. But he put stuff on film at least to give them an idea whether they can play him in the playoffs. I thought that was really big. There were a couple other guys I thought Jonathan Baldwin played really well. He's not going to help you in the playoffs, but now you go, okay, off season, we'll keep him around. You know, he seemed to me like he was very active. I'm trying to think who else got a chance. On the offensive line, Jordan Morgan played left tackle. I don't know. There were some times he didn't look great, and then there were, you know, I don't know. I need to look at it closer and see how he did overall. The 2 inside guys struggled. I mean, there were times when people were shooting right up the middle on block. So I don't know about that, but I don't think that matters as much as the 2 defensive guys.
Yeah.
You know what Jordan Morgan looked like as a guy who hadn't played left tackle in a long time.
Since preseason.
You know, and it just goes back to they've musical chairs him for 2 years now. I'm not surprised. I don't come off of believing that Jordan Morgan's a left tackle. I'm not surprised that a guy that hasn't played left tackle in a long time shows some rust at left tackle. It's a tough position. So the offseason plan with him has got to just be learn left tackle and be yourself.
Yeah.
The thing that Barron Sorrell did, I thought, was he showed kind of the best aspects that we've seen over the years from Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary, the thing that you've always known him to be is a high motor guy, a guy that strains, a guy that efforts through the whistle. And that's really what Barron Sorrell did. I mean, he had a 0-yard sack. That's the definition of an effort sack.
Yeah.
His first tackle on 1st and 10 in the first quarter, he crashes down the line and holds, I think, Ty Chandler to a 1-yard gain. We used to see Rashawn Gary do that all the time. That's a Rashawn Gary play. I thought his motor was very Rashawn Gary-esque.
Yeah. I mean, even the fumble recovery.
Yeah,
it came
right place,
from
right time.
Right place, right time. And again, it came off of Brenton Cox getting the strip there on, well, that was Max Brosmer at the time. I believe he was already in. But still, you got to make the play.
It came off of Max Brosmer tripping over his left tackle's leg.
Yes.
I mean, that's really what happened.
But he didn't give up on it. Like
No.
some guys would have turned around and, we got a sack, you know, and celebrate. And he was smart enough to, all right, I'm not going to ball out. I don't know what the situation is. So, I mean, I've always been kind of a Brenton Cox fan just because I think he does have a ton of pass rush ability. And they just, you know, he just scratched the surface at the end of last year. He had a bunch of sacks and pressures, and then he got hurt, and we haven't really seen much of him. So who knows? That might have been a really turning point for him, and maybe for them in terms of pass rush.
Little Brenton Cox crush there.
Well, you know,
Is that official?
I think it's I'm not as in love with his game as I have been like with Dontavian Wicks and
Gosh, who's the
Kamal
defensive tackle out of
Haddon.
Iowa?
Kamal Haddon. Yeah,
He was one.
those guys. Cox, I kind of like his story.
Who was
you
the
know?
defensive tackle out of Iowa? I'm spacing on the name.
Oh,
you love that guy.
The defensive line, Heflin.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jack Heflin. He's not Jack Heflin level with you yet.
Well,
You got to think about it. All right.
the crush is sort of for a different reason. Like, I really respect the fact that, you know, he was kind of a jerk in college and he got kicked out of wherever and he just turned it around. He just said, okay, I was stupid and I got undrafted as a result. He was like a 5-star athlete coming out of college and, you know, was a knucklehead and turned it around and now you see. So that's kind of where I'm at with him.
Very interesting. So I always enjoy hearing about the crushes. the
It's rare. Most of the guys, I do not have any affinity for. So.
It's tough to earn too. If you're a smooth crush, that means a lot.
That is true. That is true. So, you know, I don't even know what to ask about the offense. There's nothing to ask.
Nothing.
I mean, We watched. The fact that there was a point where Emmanuel Wilson had negative 14 rushing yards. He went viral for all the wrong reasons. His negative 18-yard game.
I was waiting for him to throw it. I thought he should have just thrown it.
Take
the intentional grounding, because then it goes back and it only goes back 15 yards and you lose it down. Yeah. 29 or whatever he lost on it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a run worse than an intentional grounding?
Yeah, not many.
That's as rare as it gets in this game.
It reminded me of, there's a movie you guys, I'm sure you haven't seen, called Paper Lion, where George Plimpton is a writer and he tries to go play quarterback for the Detroit Lions. And he goes back to pass and he's scrambling and moving backwards and he runs into the post, down on the end zone. Yeah. It was just perfect. That's what I thought was going to happen with him.
That was a childhood movie for me, The Little Giants, where the kid was running the ball. He's like, blow the whistle, just stop and blow the whistle. Should you have something?
Yes. I thought the most significant thing all day for the Packers offense was Matt LaFleur making clear that had they gotten to the situation where Clayton Tune leaves the field for any reason, they had decided that Jordan Love was going to play. He was going to take snaps. He was the only other quarterback. He would be on the field. But they decided that he was not going to throw a pass. Yeah. It was going to be nothing but handoffs.
Yeah.
Because that told you what they thought of this game. They did not care about the score of this game. The Packers did not find the end zone in this game, but they left Minnesota feeling like they accomplished their mission because there were no serious injuries. The most significant being Bo Melton's knee injury, which did have to trot Jaden Reed. He got the short straw coming off the sideline for a few snaps. But I don't think he got a target.
They weren't going to throw it.
No.
I'm sure he's under strict orders.
He should just stood there.
He
ran some go routes.
He was the statue position. Just
he was
stand
the
there and don't touch anyone. Like that was so they didn't care about the score. They were going to hand off to Emmanuel Wilson or Chris Brooks every single play if they had to if Jordan Love played today.
Yeah, I'll say this, credit Brooks. He had some nice runs as well. He's kind of one of those players. I don't know. I guess I don't want to say that's my crush, but he's like a scrappy player, and he does everything right. He's not going to be flashy or anything like that, but he battles out there for the team. And again, that was something that stood out. And yeah, it's something to watch. And you kind of touched on Matthew Golden. I don't know if you had the chance to talk to him. In the locker room at all. I don't know. What do you make of, how do they get him going?
Well, you're not going to get him going with Clayton Tune at quarterback.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't make anything out of this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he dropped 2 passes, but I don't think Clayton Tune throws a very good ball either.
That's a good point.
I mean, let's look at it. Three of his balls this year, Melton dropped a short one, and Golden dropped 2. I just don't think he throws a real catchable ball. I wouldn't take anything out of offensively. I thought, in the second half they made a good adjustment and ran the ball pretty well. I thought they started to open up some holes, but with no passing game, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I think they thought about opening the offense, but I think that time that Tune went back and nobody blocked Dallas Turner, and he just drilled him in the back.
Yeah,
was like, okay, okay. We're not doing that anymore. We're gonna everything's gonna be short. He couldn't afford to lose Clayton Tune.
Yeah,
he just couldn't.
Clayton Tune had one job: stay on the field no matter what.
Take the snap.
That was his job.
Every snap.
No matter how hard you get hit, you get back to the huddle. You stay on the field. It was his only job. So he did his one job. The Matthew Golden thing, I would not have made anything good or bad out of today. If he went out there, had 10 catches for 125 yards, I would not have all of a sudden thought Adam Sinovich might change his mind. Maybe he is a premier guy. It's too late in the season for that. It's too early to call Matthew Golden a draft bust. Point blank period. It's just, you don't. 1 year does not a draft bust make.
Yeah.
It's not too early to say it's a wasted rookie year. It's absolutely a wasted rookie year. And there's not a lot of priorities for this coaching staff, this franchise going into this offseason that are more important than making sure that that Matthew Golden has a much better year too, that this does not repeat itself. They don't have any draft picks the next 2 years. Their last 2 draft picks are Jordan Morgan and Matthew Golden. They have to be building blocks going forward for this franchise. And right now, both guys have a lot of work to do. I mean, those are 2 huge priorities.
Yeah. I mean, the receiver room's going to look different next year. You're probably not going to have, Romeo Doubs. And he is the number 1 in targets right now. He's like 80 plus. And then after that, you have Christian Watson in the 50. So obviously, if Watson's healthy and have a full season, he's no question wide receiver number 1. And then you have Tucker Kraft back and Jaden Reed a full healthy season. So that's going to be a very interesting piece. Find where you can have Golden into this puzzle and see what you get out of him. So again, it's going to be fascinating, no question about it. Guys, any initial thoughts on round 3 in Chicago for the playoffs? Spoon?
Yeah, I think the Bears saw what the Ravens did, and I think they're going to try to do that to them. I don't know why you wouldn't try to test the interior of their defense. That's what it's going to come down to. Excuse me. Can the Packers stop the run?
Yeah.
And everything's going to probably bank on that. I know Ben Johnson's going to throw the ball. He's not John Harbaugh, and he's not going to give the ball to his backs 35 times.
Yeah.
I mean, he just doesn't do that. But they're going to try to establish the run, and then it'll be up to the Packers to stop it. And then they've got to score. Jordan Love has to start playing like a playoff quarterback. I mean, he has to get hot.
Yeah.
And they've got Chicago's defense hasn't been great, and San Francisco exploited some things. Detroit had some open receivers running. They've got to figure out a way to get out in front and then get pressure on Williams. Take that running game out of the equation.
Yeah. Ryan?
The Packers and Bears are 2 teams that can beat anyone in the NFC or lose to anyone in the NFC. I have no idea what to expect from either of these teams. I will say, I was on record believing sitting Jordan Love 2.5 games before the regular season would be a mistake. And I still think it's a big question. Spoon, you mentioned red hot quarterback. It is a big question if he can be red hot without playing 2.5 games when he goes to Chicago. But it does look a lot better now because the Bears have lost their last 2 games. They played their starters. Should have been 3 in a row. If the Packers get an onside kick in Chicago, the Bears would have lost 3 in a row. They are not coming in red hot. Now they got some teachable tape today. That might help, but you've got a team that is rested against. Had the Bears beat up on the Lions today and came in red hot, that would, I think, been a really big concern. They're not, and so it's certainly a winnable game in this wild card for the Packers, but it's a winnable game for the Bears too. I kind of feel like flip a coin. I don't know what to expect. It's going to be the team that plays better. I just don't know who's going to play better.
Yeah, it's going to be the $1 million question, but I do think there could definitely be benefits to seeing Jordan Love. Granted, he missed 2.5 games, but I would rather have a guy miss 2.5 games and maybe be rusty to have an opening drive, or a guy that's hurt, that's sore, or who knows what could have happened if he played against the Vikings. This was not a defense to play around with and just go out there and see what happens. They don't allow quarterbacks to get red hot either. So I think this was one of those matchups that it's hard to really gauge that, especially when you get ready for Chicago. But you're going to have Zach Tom more than likely healthy. Xavier McKinney was out, Josh Jacobs. And, there's a lot of pieces and guys who were able to get some rest. We'll know next weekend if it was beneficial. But at least after this game, should have sat him out.
The rust is going to be something to overcome, but the Bears' defense is bad enough that they could overcome it against them.
Yes.
I don't know how you guys feel.
Yes.
But I think that if you gave truth serum to everyone inside this Packers organization, who would you rather play? It would have been Chicago because of how bad the Bears' defense is. I think the Packers are entering this game believing they can score on the Bears. And, boy, it's just different with that Philly defense. I mean, Philadelphia's got their problems, but defense is not one of them. I think this is a more favorable matchup than it would have been going to Philadelphia.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would call the Bears defense bad. I mean,
No, I
they
wouldn't.
lead the league in interceptions. They take the ball away, and they did it again. I just
And
I
explosive
think
plays.
they lack pass rush,
Yep.
and that's probably their biggest weakness.
Yeah.
They're not, they got some guys who aren't playing that great, but they, as a unit, they play pretty solidly, and of course they always take the ball away. So, I think it'll be a good matchup.
It will be.
I'm very interested to see. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. That'll be a factor.
Yeah.
But, they might as well play the Bears. I mean, either way, win or if they win, they got to go to Seattle, and that's next to impossible. But why not just play the Bears and for all the marbles, at least between the two states.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll dive deeper into the matchup later on in the week. We'll have another podcast. And, of course, we're taping this on this Sunday after the game. So we'll have, we don't have dates
Yeah, we
and
still don't have
times.
the date or time.
We don't have anything like that. So we'll be able to talk more about that in the coming days. And other than that, guys, let's get out of Minnesota and let's call it a podcast. And we thank each and every one of you for checking out the Green 19 podcast. The regular season is over for the Green Bay Packers. It's on to the playoffs, taking on Chicago next weekend. For Ryan Wood, Tom Silverstein, I'm Dominique Yates.